And Infineon. He will lead him down to the green flag. Great crowd on hand. Kyle Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the green flag waves at Watkins Glen International. Here we go. Tony Stewart hugging the inside there. Already some contact in the pack.
We said you couldn't win this race down there on the first lap, but you could sure make it a long day for you. But everybody made it through. A lot happening there in a hurry, though. This is the fastest part of the track as they go up through the S's to the long back straightaway here. See, Kyle Busch has got out front. Dale Jr.'s got in a spot there to into second place. Carl Edwards trying to hold off Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson not wasting any time getting a little race. He said he learned a lot as far as how he wanted to handle this racetrack by driving the Nationwide car yesterday.
Yesterday, he was able to get down in the corner a couple of car lengths farther and outbrake a lot of guys, and I see him doing that just a little bit up that backstretch. He was able to outbrake Carl Edwards.
Jeff Gordon also trying to make a move. He takes the position away from Carl Edwards. Tony Stewart going inside the 31 car.
Yeah, I talked to Tony last night. He said his race car is really good. He was going to be pretty aggressive today. I think he's wanting to make sure that this losing streak, if you call it that he's on, isn't going to go past today.
Biffle, top of your screen. He falls back in line behind Burton. That's Casey Kane behind him in the 9 car and the 29 of Kevin Harvick. The 11 car, by the way, behind that group. Denny Hamlin, very good in final practice yesterday.
A lot of guys in the garage area said this is one of the cars to beat. Denny Hamlin's a great road racer. You see how his car is picking up that inside wheel through the S's. Some of these guys have real soft rear springs. Here goes Junior on the inside of Kyle Busch.
Headed to the inner loop. He will make the pass if he can hang on. Whoa, Jimmy Johnson. He does give Kyle enough room and makes the pass.
Kyle didn't want to give up much there. Got in there a little bit hot. He knew that Junior was going to pass him, but he was trying not to give up that second spot to Jimmy Johnson, but had to go across the grass. And we see Jeff Gordon putting pressure on him now. Mike?
Well, DJ, something we need to pay attention to this afternoon when it comes to Kyle Busch is his motor. In practice yesterday, he missed a shift. He went from third to second. There was some concern. Steve Addington ran the motor through some tests. They were confident enough to not have to replace the motor, but they did replace the valve springs. Still, something we should keep an eye on this afternoon, Dave.
Mike, Jeff Gordon getting around Kyle Busch now for that third position. And DJ talked about another driver kind of getting off the losing streak here. Jeff Gordon wanting to do that as well, referred to his spin during our countdown interview as something he'd like to overcome as well. And they went and tested for this race at Road Atlanta. One of the teams that did that, one of many teams that did that, because the elevation changes there mimic what happens here at this road course. So they got some adjustments made because of that test, and Jeff even more confident here this weekend.
Exactly, Dave. And this is a road course where the drivers talk about, unlike a lot of road courses, here you got to have horsepower. And how about the horsepower in those top 3 cars?
All Hendrick power up front. 1, 2, 3. And they've all filed right by Kyle Busch. He's struggling just a little bit. I know he had a little engine problem yesterday. I'm not sure that that's causing any problem now. It looks like his car is just not handling right.
Yeah, we see a lot of racing going on through here into the inner loop. These guys are pretty much single file right here trying to get down to that. You pretty much have to be. But they've got a long way to go if they're going to try to get to the front. And you want to be patient. You know it's a 90-lap race, but then again, you know that you have to get every spot that you can right now.
These are great road racers back here. Patrick Carpentier. See 21 car Marcus Ambrose. Here comes Carpentier.
Max Pappas behind him in the 70 car. Had a good run yesterday. That's Travis Quapple that Carpentier is going by. The 84 car is there. A.J. Allmendinger. Great in the open wheel ranks on the road courses.
Really good passings on there. Coming off the last corner down to the front straightaway. If you can get that inside spot trying to get down to turn 1, then that's a great passing opportunity. We see A.J. Allmendinger here. David Rudiman getting his car a little sideways.
And Rudiman will loop it around, stop it on the asphalt, and try to get it refired and head back. Here's the good part about this road course. If you can get it refired, you will not lose a lap, and he does.
He'll get it going. He was trying to block that move.
Yeah, and he was trying to get in there. He saw the opening there that A.J. Allmendinger was kind of having for him, and he was just going to try to follow in there, and he got in there just a little bit over his head and got the rear tires to hopping and just turns around. Everybody's been in that spot as we've seen.
You talk about wheel hop here. Watch the rear wheels.
He could see the smoke coming off. He just gets in there a little bit hard. He's trying not to hit the 84, but he's trying to cover that spot and take advantage of the pass there and get by the 28 car. But he just got in there a little bit too hard, and you have to turn the wheel so much right there that it just gets to hopping.
Marcus Ambrose view of what happened in the 99.
Staying in front of us here. Just stay on the bottom there. All clear. All clear. No pressure back here. Whatever you need, bud.
What causes the wheel hop? Is it the braking, is it the gearing, or is it a combination?
Yeah, a combination really it can be. It can come from either one. You can just get on the brakes simply too hard and have too much rear brake in it. Or as you're getting down in there, you also have to downshift and you don't match up your RPMs with the rear wheels, and it's just too much speed there. So more than either case, it was carrying too much speed into that corner.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has never won a NASCAR Sprint Cup event on a road course. He won here in the NASCAR Nationwide Series back in 1999, but he is leading here in the early laps. Back in just a moment. Working lap number 7 at Watkins Glen, the Centurion boats at the Glen NASCAR Sprint Cup Series event. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is our leader. Jimmy Johnson in second spot. Jeff Gordon, 3 Hendrick cars, 1, 2, 3. Then the 18 car. Points leader Kyle Busch has gotten a little racier now. Gotten this car dialed in. There's Tony Stewart back in 4th spot. Carl Edwards and Jeff Burton in the top 5. There's the 18 car of Kyle Busch. Let's listen in.
Ask him. I thought that wasn't a place to pass. Seriously, Jeff, go ask him. 10-4.
I would assume that he's probably talking about maybe Jimmy Johnson in the inner loop whenever Kyle got off the track there a little bit. I would think, where we saw Gordon make the pass, I think that's a legitimate spot. So, without knowing exactly, but, early in the race, and looked like it put him in a little bit of a difficult spot, but I'm sure he'll forget that. And he has a fast race car. These guys got by him, and he got back a little bit. Now he's come back.
That's the thing I see right here is his car didn't take off good on new tires, but after they run a few laps, this 18 car is as good or better than any car I've seen on the racetrack. And I think that's one reason it's frustrating for him, because he had to give up those spots before his car actually came in.
I think we're getting ready to see where he thinks there's a passing spot here in just a second.
He's getting ready to make one right here on Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, he made some contact yesterday when he got a little frustrated. He in the third, he and Jeff Burton had a little bumper tag and fender pushing episode in the NASCAR Nationwide Series race.
He's got his hands full there because Jeff Gordon knows how to make his car go off of these corners. That's what makes him such a good road racer, I believe, is he doesn't give up anything in spots. And we see Kyle trying to outbrake him into turn 1. Thinks better of it now. But Jeff's going to give him the spot. Maybe no. Good racing there.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is great
boy,
racing.
both of those guys had to have a lot of trust in each other at that point in time.
They missed an opportunity to wreck there pretty easily. Now, Kyle Busch, we told you he's unbeaten on road courses in 2008. We asked him about how much he likes road racing.
Road racing's fun. I like road racing. It's kind of feels like you're going into an off weekend, being able to turn right, turn left, kind of mess around and do that stuff, but it still counts for points. You still got to make sure that you do everything right, stay on track, and try to win, but it's fun.
It is fun, and he is the points leader, although, he's being pretty aggressive. I guess he realizes the chase is coming up, and he's got the most bonus points of anybody, but he's not letting Jeff Gordon get more than about 3 feet in front of him.
I know track position is important, Dale, but how long? Here we go. I was going to say, how long are you going to let this guy chew on your rear bumper before you let him go?
Yeah, and that's just Gordon. It shows the experience and knowledge that he has, that there's no reason to press the issue now. Kyle Busch is wanting to go, and Jeff Gordon's going to let him do that. And Jeff might even find something here. Kyle's car obviously is faster, and he might see something that will help him later on.
Our friends high above at Goodyear giving us a nice aerial photo view of that pass. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. There is
Check out this line.
Yep.
He got down in there a little hard. You can see him smoke that left front tire as he got in that corner a little bit hard, but that didn't back him up any. He just stayed in the gas. See Tony Stewart catching Jeff Gordon there too. As these two cars, Kyle Busch and Jeff Gordon, were racing, it gave Tony a chance to get up there a little bit closer to him.
If you're asking about the progress of some of the ringers in the back of the pack road course drivers, how about Marcus Ambrose, who started 43rd in the 21 car, and he is now 31st. He has gained 12 spots in 9 laps. Shannon.
Yeah, Doc, I spoke with Marcos Ambrose this morning. He said it was going to be calm and patient, and that's how he was going to make his way through the field. You know, I also asked him about that win last night. He said, you know, I went to bed. I might have had, you know, one celebratory beer, but I went to bed, took it easy, was really focused on today. He did say, as Tony Stewart goes by Jeff Gordon on the track, guys, but Marcos Ambrose did say that he had to turn off his phone. It was a great night for that team.
Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon up there trying to get toward the front. Here's Marcos Ambrose, his 59th career start in Nationwide Series, going to victory lane for the first time, making only his 3rd ever start in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. And guys, in practice yesterday, he was the fastest car in the early practice, and but he was only 3rd quickest in happy hour.
Well, we heard him say early on that he had to be patiently aggressive in this race, and it looks like that's exactly what he's doing. He's making up spot, which is important in this first run, but he's not putting himself in a bad position either.
Our in-race reporter today is Juan Pablo Montoya. We told you he started back in 25th position. And from the discussions we had with him yesterday in our little pit studio, he didn't seem like he was going to be there very long. And he is marching his way toward the front. The 42 car of Juan Pablo Montoya now being shown in 15th position.
He's picked up 10 spots already, and we've only run 10 laps, so he's getting a car a lap. And yeah, things are going to get a little more difficult as he gets to this group, but he has caught these guys that started well ahead of him, and so it shows just how good a car he's got. He's been excited all weekend about the prospects of his chances of winning this race.
Our Wrangler telemetry, you watch the throttle and just see how much Juan Pablo, if he gets on the brakes here, imagine he's going to pop them pretty hard here in turn 1. Yeah.
Oh, he dives inside Casey Kane. Too hard. I thought that, hey, there's no way he's going to make that work.
Yeah, you can hear that car jumping up and down. The rear wheels is actually affecting the RPMs of that by that doing. Shannon?
Yeah, something else Juan Pablo Montoya said this week was the fact that the last 4 weeks have really been the best weeks of his career, according to Montoya. He said, you know, the finishes don't necessarily show it, but I feel that on paper we are more competitive than we've been. He said it's been a boost for this team.
I think Juan Pablo is tired of people asking him what's wrong with the Ganassi racing team, what's going on. He said, you know, we are getting better. Chip Ganassi has made some changes. We are better. We haven't been able to show it on the racetrack, but we hopefully can begin this weekend in earnest with our turnaround.
Watch this bold move right here. He does a good job of not spinning the car out. When that thing starts wheel hopping, you just basically can't turn the steering wheel or it'll just swap ends on you.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is our leader. There is Jimmy Johnson, 2nd. They have moved away from Kyle Busch in 3rd and Tony Stewart in 4th. Carl Edwards, Kevin Harvick really starting to get racy. His car getting better and better. And the 24 car, Dave, is struggling a little bit.
Yeah, Doc, not the time to be racing with that 24 car right now. Real loose was the report 3 laps ago from Jeff, and since then he's lost 3 positions.
Very uncharacteristic of Jeff Gordon to be this far off early in the race. He's probably one of the best road racers out here.
When you're loose, it just makes it difficult to race these guys. You know, you've got one coming after another on your bumper, and you're trying to get to the throttle, but it just makes it more difficult.
12 laps of 90 in the books. Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to get his first win ever in a Sprint Cup road race. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell at 8 Eastern features 2 teams battling in a tight National League Central race as Albert Pujols and the St. Louis Cardinals face Derek Lee and the Cubbies. Then Monday Night Baseball presented by Holiday Inn moves to ESPN2 as Ryan Howard leads the Phillies' powerful lineup when they take on Manny Ramirez and the Dodgers at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. 14 laps complete. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch, Tony Stewart, and Carl Edwards. 2 Chevys, 2 Toyotas, and a Ford in the top 5.
I think this is very impressive of Dale Jr. and his team to come out here. And I know we have a long way to go in this race, but to come out from the very beginning and lead this race and still turning the fastest laps out there, I think that's very impressive that they can that they're this well prepared on a road course.
Fastest car on the racetrack the last lap, guys, was Marcus Ambrose back in 28th spot. He's got a fast car. He showed it in practice, and he's using it, methodically moving up through here, but he's coming.
In the pre-race, Marcus told our pit reporters they're going to try some very bizarre pit strategy to get track position. What could he be thinking about doing here? Trouble. A couple of road race regulars, P.J. Jones in the 96 and Patrick Carpentier in the 10. And no caution, no full course caution.
There, stay high. Hard, go hard. You're clear right there. Clear right there.
That was down in turn 1 where a lot of things seem to happen here as guys are racing down in there trying to make a pass. We'll watch the replay here and see exactly what went on. Patrick Carpentier looked like was trying to get down in and make the pass. It looked like he was pretty much under control, but they got together, whoever's fault it was. It's hard to say right there. PJ looked like he had got in there a little bit hot. No, Carpentier, yeah, that's his fault. He just got in there a little bit hot. Boris said we saw just sneak by those guys, so that was a pass. He was looking to have to pass 2 cars, and he did it in 1 corner.
Boris said driving the 45 for Petty Enterprises. Kyle Petty opted to get out and let Boris drive the car here, and we'll have Terry Labonte in that car next week. You heard earlier from Dave Burns that Jeff Gordon was really struggling. The car was loose in portions of the track, and he complained it's really tight over in the inner loop. And here are the cars that are moving in on Gordon. Jeff holding on to 8th position, but it's Jeff Burton, Martin Truex, and Ryan Newman moving in behind him, 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Okay, this is your first round of pit stops. This is a scheduled pit stop, believe it or not. And these guys feel like that they can make it now on 1 more stop. It's going to be tight for these guys, and they're counting on a lot of caution flags. But this is the first round of them right here.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. We're going to be saying this a lot as this starts to happen from this point forward now as to what different strategies people are going to be on. His only problem is he's getting ready to get lapped right here, and that could be a problem.
Yeah, that works if you can stay on the track without losing a lap, but if you've lost so much ground before you make that stop, you lose a lap, that can backfire right in your face.
Juan Pablo Montoya continuing his march in the 42 car. There comes the 11 car. And Montoya right behind the 12 car of Ryan Newman. That is, Newman is 11th. They are 11th, 12th, and 13th.
These guys have been racing awfully hard. These cars are just so equal up through here, but you see them, each one of them, as they get to these braking points, and they're going up through the S's right now, they get to the braking points, they're really trying to protect that position. We saw that's what the 11 car was doing down into turn 1. Be interesting to see if he does the same thing and trying to keep Juan Pablo behind him right here.
One of the drivers who's been struggling just a bit is the 07 of Clint Boyer. Dave?
He's lost 5 positions, Doc, and remember, entering today's race, he's only 11 points to the good as far as the race to the chase. So right now, Clint has to battle getting through this race, and that dreaded wheel hop you guys talked about, that doesn't help. Listen.
Anything I can do to help wheel hop? Just adjust your brakes. Try to put some front brake in it. You can also brake longer before you gear down.
To learn more about what Clint may be going through and how he can solve it, let's go to the Chevy Cutaway car and Tim Brewer.
Thanks, Dave. Folks, from inside the car, the driver can actually turn this knob right here. What he's going to do, he's going to change the mechanical ability out here on the master cylinders. What that does, you change the rate from over this front master cylinder to the rear. And that's how we actually change the brake bias on the car, is through this cable that's hooked to the dash, moving it from this point over to this. Andy?
Yeah, Tim, another thing about this wheel hop deal is it's just so hard to get. A lot of drivers don't have the right style of downshifting, and we can hear some of those guys trying to help Clint, but boy, his voice got up there pretty high. He was worried about that.
Was there a sense of urgency in Clint Boyer's voice? It's almost like someone jumped out of a plane. He's yelling, any idea how to get this parachute to open? How do you stop this wheel hop? Clint Boyer. The good news is, though, as Dave mentioned, he's trying to hang in the 12th in the points, but the guy he's battling for position is the 17 who's right behind him. Here's the 41, Reed Sorensen.
Get going here, buddy.
That's the hot spot today, turn 1.
It's always been the spot that's been the one that you had to be careful of the most, but I believe with these new cars, it's even more critical. You know, that's the spot that we saw Jeff Gordon leading the race last year, spin out. It's just, you go downhill into that corner, and it just makes it even more difficult. You're loading the front end, you've got rear brake on your car to help other places, and so then it just makes it even more difficult. we'll see him come in. Yeah, he's lost it way back up there.
He lost it
just
early.
carrying too much speed down in there. And it's a great place if you can get through there to make up some time to carry speed in there, because you want to carry that off of that first corner. But it's a very treacherous place.
They make anti-locking brakes. Could they make anti-hopping brakes?
Actually, anti-lock brakes would help that. They're illegal in this series, but that would help that situation.
That hasn't stopped people before.
Dale Jr.'s not having any problems. He's still out front. Jimmy Johnson right behind him. We saw Kyle Busch up to third. He's actually gained on Jimmy Johnson for that third spot. So.
Yeah, these two guys have been running the 88 car down, Dale Earnhardt Jr., by a couple tenths a lap. They're starting to move back in on him, but Marcus Ambrose has still been one of the fastest cars. He's back in the packaways.
Carl Edwards, a 99 car. And he will be one of those that will pit early here on lap number 20, getting down to 35 miles an hour.
Well, he's in plenty good spot. He was far enough up front. He's not going to have to be worried about losing the lap or anything. But this is their strategy that they want to get in here right now. And it'll help them gauge their gas mileage here, Andy, to see exactly when they can come in for this next one. Shannon?
Yeah, Greg Biffle on pit road. They're going to go to work on that car. I spoke with Greg Irwin. He said that this setup on this car is very similar to where they unloaded. They chased their tail for a while, but ended up going back to what they unloaded with 4 tires for Greg Biffle. Mike.
Carl Edwards complaining is very tight in the left-hand turns, and the car needs to roll better. They're going to make a 4-tire change, an air pressure adjustment, and take on a full load of Sunoco race fuel.
Matt Kenseth's on the outside looking in points. He says he has no rear grip. He said it's going to be a long day. They're going to make a lot of changes. Right rubber out of the left rear, wedge in the left rear as well. 4 tires of fuel. Matt Kenseth is down and away.
I think that was a corporate decision by Rouse to make a pit stop on that lap.
Pretty much looked like the Rouse guys were going to come in on lap 20.
There's 70 laps to go from there, so that means that they can at least go 35 laps in each segment. At least they think they can. They'll probably try to gamble with a little bit more laps on that final segment.
And if they can't, Jack Roush will be the first to know. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leading here after 21 laps. Welcome back to the Centurion boats at the Glen, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series event. The 18 car, Kyle Busch peeled off. There comes Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's the leader. Busch, who let him down from the pole, as the points leader, coming down for his pit stop at 35 miles an hour. Kevin Harvick, by the way, pitted. So did Jeff Burton, Jimmy McMurray, Clint Boyer, and the 12 car of Ryan Newman a moment ago while we were away. Here comes Tony Stewart and Kyle Busch. Mike.
And Kyle Busch hits to his pit box. The team goes to work. They're looking for a 4-tire change there. Kyle saying the car a little bit tight in the left-hand turns. They're also going to put a round wedge in on the right rear side as they make the adjustments on the 18. Meanwhile, the 20 car just a couple pit stalls back. Tony Stewart very quiet on the radio. They've been looking for rear grip all weekend, though. That's what Zippy was trying to give him with a 4-tire change here. Let's go to Dave.
Denny Hamlin's on pit road, Mike. A 4-tire change. It was a little free off of the right-handers. That'll be a wedge adjustment in the rear of that race car. 4 tires on and completed. He is off pit road.
Denny Hamlin down. Leader continues to be Dale Earnhardt Jr. By the way, if you just joined our coverage, Kyle Busch led the first lap, and then Dale Earnhardt Jr. has led the 22 laps since then. Jimmy Johnson, though, moving in on Earnhardt. Neither one of these cars have been on pit road as of yet.
Andy, are these guys taking a real chance staying out there with all of these other cars getting on pit road? If the caution comes out and they have to pit then, I mean, I guess they're just going to stick with their strategy, but they're staying out there a long time.
Though I guess the only reason they're staying out here is because they know they can't make it. Their fuel mileage may not be quite as good, but it is very risky to stay out here because if the caution comes out, they're going to be behind. Jamie?
Martin Truex Jr. said one thing on the radio this entire race: the car is good. He is pumped. He started 18th, went all the way up to 3rd. 4 tires, no changes for the 1. Shannon?
Well, your winner from last night, Marcos Ambrose, says he's lost forward bite. They're going to take 4 tires on that number 21 car as they go to work on car for Marcos Ambrose. They're also going to get some Sunoco fuel. Marcos Ambrose is out and away.
That was the big question. Marcos Ambrose has a very good car, may have the best car here, but how would the pit crew respond? Would they be able to keep him in where he needs to be by getting on and off pit road?
Well, they lost some time on their pit stop. At least they did get in and off pit road now. They're in pretty good shape. Jamie?
And David Reagan in his backup car yesterday in practice had a little incident and crunched his primary. Was falling off at the start of the race, but it's coming to him, getting gripped just like everyone else. 4 tires for David Reagan as they jack up the right side. 2nd. And he stalls it on the exit, guys. He gets it refired. Reagan down and away.
One thing that makes it hard for these guys to get off pit road is they actually use first gear on the racetrack, and they can gear it any way they want, and they gear them up pretty high, and that's why it chokes the engine down sometimes when these guys take off.
Here's our battle for the lead with Dale Jr. still leading. Jimmy Johnson has closed in some more on him.
They need to battle down the pit roads. What they need to do, they're going to be in trouble here.
Juan Pablo Montoya, by the way, is third. About a half a straightaway behind these guys.
If the caution doesn't come out, it won't hurt them to run extra laps here.
There's Juan Pablo, started back in 25th. He has hustled his car into the top 5. I realize there have been some pit stops, so he is back in third spot.
Now, he's running very good lap times, though, in comparison to the guys up front. So he does have a really good car, which he, again, told us a number of times this weekend.
Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Montoya, then Casey Kane is fourth. Jeff Gordon in the 24 car, trying to hold off Kurt Busch. That's for 5th position.
There's Jimmy Johnson.
You mentioned he's never won on a road course, hoping to end that drought in road racing today. Mike.
And they learned a lot yesterday during the nationwide race. One thing in particular, fuel mileage. They learned it, unfortunately, the hard way. That may be why they're pitting a little bit late. Jimmy Johnson saying the car a little bit edgy with the back. He's looking for a little bit of help. They'll make an air pressure adjustment. Also a 4-tire change on the 48 cars. They now swing around to the right side, pitting a little bit differently than they do on an oval. Left side first, right side next. They're down off the Jackson away. Jamie.
And Kurt Busch, the 2 cars, started 19th, working his way up. He's a road course ringer to some people. He says this car is pretty good. Air pressure adjustment, wedge, 4 tires for Kurt Busch, who's trying to rebound after running out of fuel last week at Pocono. Guys.
Kurt has driven that car up into the top 5. Here is Eric Almirola driving the car. He shares with Mark Martin for DEI. Coming to you, Jamie.
Eric Almirola, glad to be back in the car. It's the first time since the announcement that he'll be full-time in this car next season. Crew goes around to the left side first and then around to the right. Eric making his first start here at the Glen, starting 15th, of course, because of owner points. See if they can get it down and away. 16.3, a little longer than normal, guys, and that seems to be the standard here today.
One reason these pit stops are not as quick as we normally see is because the guys are coming from the other side of the wall, and everything's backwards for these guys. Shannon?
Yeah, Juan Pablo Montoya says it's just a little bit loose getting into the corners. They're going to make some air pressure adjustments on those back tires. 4 tires and fuel for Juan Pablo Montoya. What a great day for this car so far. It's moved his way from the back to the front of the field. Juan Pablo Montoya very happy with the car, just a little bit loose.
15.7, pretty good pit stop there for the Ganassi Sabatas team. Here's Casey Kane in for his first stop of the day.
NASCAR is actually asking, the 24 team is asking NASCAR to post the 24 because they can't communicate with Jeff Gordon. They want to get him on pit road.
What they mean by posting is they put that up on the electronic signboard at the flag stand so that when Jeff comes by, he sees his number flashing, indicating they want him to come to pit road because they cannot hear the guys here in the pits.
They'll actually do that for you about one time a race. After that, they won't do it anymore for you, will they, Andy?
I've never had them do that for me ever. I guess they would, but I've never asked them to do it.
Gordon now will come out of turn 11, which is the right-hander, and head down. They should have his number on the flag stand there flashing as he comes by.
Need to get to the old chalkboard out.
Yeah, they actually black flagged him right there at the start-finish line, trying to get his attention to make sure that he looked up, because a lot of times you won't be looking for that if you don't think there's anything wrong. But they're trying to help them in this case to get Jeff to pit road. And I'm sure he's been wondering why they're not telling him.
Jeffrey, this time. Hey, Jeff, this time, piss. Hey, post us if you don't say nothing. Tell this NASCAR official to post us. Or pit this time, Jeff.
They got all of the spotters around the track that he has trying to get the communication to him. It'll be interesting to see. I'm sure he saw the black flag last time. He's probably wondering why that is, but he might not be aware that he doesn't have that communication.
He could have pulled his earplugs. There's where his earplugs go, the earphones have a plug on them, and he could have pulled them out where he doesn't hear them.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. on pit road for his first stop of the day as they are going to work lap 30, a third of the way home. Shannon.
Yeah, Dale Earnhardt Jr., your race leader, has led most of this race. The guy's going to work on that number 88, and they say it's just a little bit tight for Dale Jr. They're going to take 4 tires and fuel. The plan was to have Dale Jr. stay out as long as he could. He said, keep me out here as long as you want. I'll stay. They come down. Good pit stop. Had a little problem getting that fired up, guys.
Jeff Gordon does indeed heed the black flag and will come down for 4 tires and a radio adjustment. They'll check that plug, as Andy mentioned there, the plug into the back of the helmet and where the radio hooks in. He's headed to you, Dave.
5 away, 3, 2, 4 tires, rubbers out.
Originally, this was going to be a stop to pull spring rubbers out of the rear springs and to make an air pressure adjustment because Jeff's car was so loose but tight in other places. Now let's see if they go into the cockpit. Not at all. They're still trying to talk to Jeff, but no word back from Jeff. So this radio issue is going to be an issue throughout the day, it appears. And they're done with their pit stop, but again, nothing changed on the communication side. Jeff not hearing his crew.
Well, he probably has another radio in there, so they may have got him to switch over to the other radio.
There's a radio going in. They're handing him a radio inside the car, or trying to.
That's pretty tough.
Yeah, it looks like it has a harness hooked to it as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that could be wrong there. That's the unfortunate thing. They did make some changes with the rear springs. Brewer?
Hey, guys, what we have right here, this is the earplugs that actually plugs into the side of the helmet. But you're right, DJ. Right down here, we've got 2 radios. We've got a harness here. It's marked Radio 1, Radio 2. So if you got a problem, you just go to that second system. But I'm like you. I think this plug came loose, and that's where it fixes to the other side of the helmet. And what that does, it changes both systems. DJ?
Yeah, it doesn't take much sometimes, especially on the road courses where you're moving back and forth in the cockpit a little bit more than you would somewhere else for just a wire to get loose. And it only takes a little bit of that connection to come loose to not be able to have that communication.
Guys, I don't know what happened. That radio came disconnected. Let's see what we do here.
Well, they got it fixed now, so things are good. They might wish they hadn't, because he might be complaining about his car a little bit more, and we'll see what happens. Kyle Busch is your leader now. Jimmy Johnson in second. We'll be back to the Glen in just a minute.
Want to hear what everybody had to say about today's Watkins Glen race? Check out NASCAR Now, midnight tonight, ESPN 2. Then our Monday roundtable. Ray Abraham, Boris Said, Randy LaJoy will talk all about today's race. That is tomorrow at 5 Eastern time. Live at Joe Gibbs Racing, Wednesday night, NASCAR Now, 5 p.m. Eastern. Then next weekend, we've got the nationwide race, the Carfax 250, Saturday at 3 Eastern, and the Sprint Cup Series race for Michigan next Sunday, 1 Eastern. All that upcoming on ESPN and ESPN2. Here today at Watkins Glen, just past a third of the way through today's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race, and after the exchange of pit stops, got a new leader.
Absolutely. Kyle Busch is out front charging. The race car looks good. He's running some great times around this racetrack. And I'll tell you one of the things I'm watching for. I'm looking at that 48 and that 18. They both seem to have a ton of horsepower. And we heard Robbie Gordon in our pre-race show talking about having his car set up for more power versus fuel mileage. I wonder if any of these guys are on that task as well.
Well, they could be. You know, there's a lot of guys, before the race started, I was down at Garage Area talking to some teams, and they were talking about a 750 carburetor versus an 830 carburetor, that maybe they'll pick up a couple miles per gallon, maybe they'll pick up a couple laps. And I looked at the Roush teams. Almost all the Roush cars hit pit road at lap 20. Give me an indication they go like 35 laps, Alan.
Yep.
Now, that's longer than the rest of the guys we've seen out there, so maybe they're running the smaller carburetor.
There is someone on the track who is even faster than the race leader at the moment, and that's that 21 car that started last.
Well, he started in the back of the field, so I'm under the assumption the same thing that Robbie Gordon said. We're back in the pack, so we've got horsepower built into our ride today. Along with his talent, Marcus Ambrose is just completely hauling the heat today.
I can tell you what, Ambrose has got it going on. You see him coming to the inner loop right there, just really going. But guys, I tell you, another hot corner, and it was this way last year's turn 1. A lot of wheel hopping going on down there. This corner right here, a lot of them slid off. You saw Jeff Gordon last year had that problem. Take a look at the 44 car now, David Rudiman. He loses it off the racetrack. the classic wheel hop, and that's what happens if you just get a little deep. Let's watch Juan Pablo Montoya. Another guy got in deep. He held on to it, slid off the race course, didn't spin it. That was a really good piece of driving. Now take a look at Patrick Carpentier. He gets down in there. Oh, just holds on a big spin between him and P.J. Jones. They go around. And Alan, this wheel hopping in turn one, baby.
Remember in last year's race here, both Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon spun out of the lead in tricky turn one. We'll see how it unfolds as the day goes on, but it's been a hot spot so far here today. Oh, by the way, the difference between Kyle Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr., 6 laps between when they pitted. Kyle Busch out on fresh tires for 6 laps before Junior made his stop. Maybe that's why Kyle Busch is leading and Junior's back in 6th place. We'll keep an eye on how this final round of pit stops unfolds as we get a little bit later on into the race. And one other little quick strategy note, Robbie Gordon just back on and off pit road for some fuel only in the 7 car. Don't know whether they didn't get it full the first time or that's just a little strategy play, but we'll keep an eye on number 7. He right now is 39th, first car, 1 lap down.
Take a look at our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge. Which driver has the best chance of getting his first win of the season at Watkins Glen today? Is it A, Tony Stewart, B, Jeff Gordon, C, Kevin Harvick, or D, Greg Biffle? To play, text the word crew to 191 on your AT&T wireless phone and send in your answer. The results will be shown a little later on in the race, and standard text rates will apply. Tough choice there, although Jeff Gordon struggled a little bit early on. There's the 20 car of Tony Stewart. Tony's won 3 of the last 4 times he has come here, 4 of the last 6.
Jeff Gordon's 23rd, but he has improved his lap time some. They made a change to the chassis.
Moments ago here over the inner loop, the 7 car, Robbie Gordon getting off.
Careful.
A little contact with Tony Stewart on the way by.
That was an anxious moment for Tony Stewart there. He thought that Robbie probably was going to be a little bit slower getting back there, but Robbie was back in the gas and obviously didn't realize that somebody was coming too. No harm, though. Everything's good. Tony Stewart's up in 3rd place. Robbie Gordon is a lap down. Be interesting to see about that strategy that Alan was talking about. He came back in a second time just to get fuel, and we heard him talking about early before the race that fuel was their biggest concern.
I don't think it was strategy. I believe that they just had a problem with fuel. Like Alan said, maybe didn't get it full when they did make their pit stop, because nothing about being a lap down will work in your strategy.
We are, and I perish to say this, we are caution-free thus far in terms of full course cautions here at Watkins Glen. Kyle Busch up front, the points leader in the 18 car. He is unbeaten on road courses in 2008. He won in the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Mexico City and then dominated from 30th starting spot at Infineon. He leads here at Watkins Glen. Aerial coverage from high above historic Watkins Glen International, brought to you by our good friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. We are moving in on the halfway point here at the Centurion boats at the Glen. 39 laps complete, working lap 40. 45 would be the halfway point. Our leader is Kyle Busch. Let's get you up to speed on the lead driver, starting with Mike Massaro.
Well, Doc, the one question mark in the 18 camp coming into this race was fuel mileage. Because of the engine problems we documented at the top of the show, they didn't get to experiment much during practice with a carburetor. They're not really sure exactly how much fuel mileage they'll be able to go. Steve Addington, the crew chief, though, decided to roll the dice and threw the carburetor on that motor, just trying to see how much mileage they can get out of it. Still a lot of question marks. Right behind him, though, Jimmy Johnson. We know he's been good over the course of his Sprint Cup Series career. However, the one blemish, no road course victories. They took a step in the direction of getting one of those wins by running here in the Nationwide Series yesterday. Chad Knaus, the crew chief, said before that run, Jimmy had always been tentative in road course racing, but because of their strong effort on Saturday, feels like Jimmy's much more confident behind the wheel right now. Speaking of confidence, how can you be more confident than Tony Stewart? After all, 4 victories here in Watkins Glen. He attributes that quite a bit to his go-kart experience as a young race car driver, but you got to also give some credit to his crew chief, Greg Zipadelli. Remember, in his formative years, he was a crew chief in what is now the Camping World East Series, formerly known as the Busch North Series, that ran here quite often. Certainly Zippy knows what it takes to set up a very strong race car here at the Glen. Carl Edwards still looking for a pretty big run. Spoke with his crew chief this morning, Bob Osborne, asking him to kind of evaluate the talent of his driver on a road course. He says since he began working with Carl to now, he's seen a tremendous improvement. Pushing him to answer into what specifically he's gotten better at, Bob just said every aspect of road course racing. Dave?
And as we peer back, we see Kevin Harvick needing a little more grip in that race car right now. He's one of the other teams that went to Road Atlanta and tested, but he'd never been there before. So their test was mainly about shaking things down with this brand new race car. Kevin improving every lap they tested. And I guess that was the biggest benefit. He got some time in the car. Now they know the thing is solid, and it runs solid. Top 10 now, Shannon.
Well, Dave Dale Earnhardt Jr. took the lead early, led for 28 laps. That's more than all of his other races here at Watkins Glen combined. He is still battling tight conditions, and the call has just come into Junior. Watch that fuel. Try to save us as much as you can.
And behind him is Martin Truex Jr. They're not counting themselves out of the chase just yet, guys. They're 17th in points right now. Martin Truex Jr. said, if we're going to make a move, it has to start right here at Watkins Glen. He said, hands down, we have to go for broke. It's all about going for the win. Martin, loving the car today, started 18th, running, well, top 8 pretty much the entire race. Shannon?
Yeah, Greg Biffle fighting just a little bit of loose conditions. I spoke with his crew chief, Greg Irwin. He told me, you know, at road courses, all you have to do is just be a little off, and it can ruin your entire day. So they're looking to get that car right for Greg Biffle. Now, Jeff Burton right behind him had a great run in the nationwide race last night. Of course, he ran out of gas. He has been starting to get loose on his runs. He starts off tight and then starts to get loose. His only finishes outside the top 15 have come the past 3 races. Doc?
Got a flat tire or something. Can you tell which tire?
48 car Jimmy Johnson may have a problem. He is slowing down here out of turn 8 or turn 9 and headed up the short chute.
Could be a transmission issue.
Got it down, it's left side. All right, I do 4 tires here, guys. 4 tires.
Fix the tire, Mike.
Well, it sounds to me like it's a tire, Andy. He just came over the radio and said he feels like it's on the left side. The team is up on the wall, ready to change all 4 tires.
He's been losing quite a bit of time to Kyle Busch over the last 6 or 8 laps, but wasn't sure. This seemed like something that came all of a sudden as we see him heading down pit road. Go to the attention of his crew.
They will not be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel. 35 laps puts them at 78 to 80, so that would be very, very difficult. So he comes in. They said left side, so they're going to go to the left side first.
That's the bad news. The good news is on a road course, they won't go down a lap here. And they'll be able to get back out there, and you may have a lot of work to do, but he'll have a chance to pass a lot of cars.
And we have seen that tires do make a difference here, because as Dale Jr. stayed out there that long, it got him behind by staying out there, because these other guys put on tires and picked up some speed, and he was out there for quite a while, as we see Jimmy Johnson going back on the racetrack.
There are 38 cars on the lead lap. That's the good news. The bad news is if you do lose a lap here, you have a hard time, unless you can get the lucky dog, you have a hard time getting a good finish. They're looking at those tires, if they can see if one has gone down.
Looks like they may have found one. No, maybe not.
Looks like all the tires have air in them, so there must be something else wrong. We'll obviously follow Jimmy Johnson as we see our leader here, Kyle Busch, still out front.
Kyle Busch, he dominated the only other road race of the year at Infineon, leading 78 of the 112 laps. He's leading here today. Jr. won his first race this season at Michigan back in June. There have been 11 different winners in the last 11 August races at Michigan. 5 Michigan Sprint Cup races have been settled by a last lap pass. Folks, that's how good it gets in the Irish Hills. We'll be there next Sunday. Our coverage begins with countdown 1 o'clock Eastern time. Alan Bestwick Brad Doherty, Rusty Wallace, and then live coverage of NASCAR Sprint Cup Series action at Michigan International Speedway. We are just past the halfway point here. Kyle Busch now has led twice for 17 laps. And he's got some good laps going. Tony Stewart behind him, Carl Edwards, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr. By the way, the 48 car in just a moment ago, and it was a left rear tire flat. Let's show you how the left rear tire had an issue here. Watch him on the race course. And DJ, you talked about this at the top of the show.
Yeah, only from experience, unfortunately. You can run off, and you just never know what you're going to pick up. That looked, harmless enough right there, but apparently he did pick up something in that left rear tire at this point in time. Mike?
Yeah, DJ, when we saw a shot of the tires as soon as they came off the car, it certainly looked like they were all inflated, but upon further examination, looking at that left rear, there was a very small little cut, maybe about a half an inch long, that gouged into that tire, which led to that problem right there, and we'll have to wait and see if Jimmy can recover from this.
What's our strategy now? Kind of working on it, fellas. Really don't think I have one.
Strategy is pass as many cars as you can. Whoa, watch out, Sam. Sam Hornish is off the racetrack.
And he pulls up back on the track with a lot of gravel back on the track from that front splitter, which can double as a snow plow or a gravel plow here. Scattering gravel all over the racetrack. Sam had gained a bunch of positions at the drop of the green flag. Watch him here come out of turn 10.
It's in there too hot. Gets in that, and that's a good thing about the gravel. It keeps you out of the guardrail.
It does. He's wheeling this thing. Hey, gets it out. We heard Rusty Wallace talk about that very spot earlier in the show, and it is a trouble spot. You get in there just a little bit too hot, but he drove it right through. Could have been a lot worse.
The problem he's going to have now is he's got a lot of grass up in that grill area. He's going to have to keep an eye on that water temperature.
Sam Hornish's first trip to Watkins Glen in a NASCAR Sprint Cup Series car. Has been here before in the IndyCar. Finished third in 2007 in his last IndyCar start. When the green flag waved, Sam made a lot of progress. In fact, he was the biggest gainer in the first 10 laps, gaining more spots in the field than anybody.
Yeah, he did at that time, but the man that's gained the most so far is Marcus Ambrose. We have caution on the track now. Probably for that, and just you said a lot of debris. And
all the gravel up on the racetrack, and that can cause a lot of problems, and other flat tires that nobody wants to see.
Caution for the first time today, and it will slow this field down here on lap 47. Just 43 to go. Kyle Busch is the leader, but we started to say a moment ago, the car that everyone's going to keep an eye on is Marcus Ambrose, the Australian driver, who pulled off the upset of sorts yesterday here in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. We'll update how good Marcus is and where he has come in the field when we come back to Watkins Glen International in just a moment. Caution at Watkins Glen. Let's take a look at our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge question. We ask you, which driver has the best chance of getting his first win of the season at Watkins Glen today? How'd you vote? Was it Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick, or Greg Biffle?
Kevin Harvick.
Kevin Harvick. How about although Stewart and Gordon have 4 wins each here, a lot of love for Kevin Harvick, who won here a couple of years ago. Now, how about it? Let's figure out who's going to come on the pit road. Let's open it up to our experts and Brad and figure out who's going to pit under this yellow flag. What do you think, guys?
I'm saying everybody pits here and then just does a splash of fuel later.
Oh, gosh, I got to say, I think the Roush guys are going to come down pit road. We're pretty sure they can run 35 laps. They get some caution laps. They might be able to make it because when this thing goes back, they're going to have 40 to go. That's pushing it, but those guys might be able to pull that off.
I think everybody comes and they take a chance that there'll be another caution. And then they have another opportunity to get fuel. I think everybody comes this time by.
I think you got to stick with your strategy. We started with a strategy. Let's stick with it and pit whenever we were supposed to.
I'm glad y'all let me wait till last. I think I'm a leader. I'm staying out right here.
Spoken like someone who looked in the rearview mirror.
That's what I was going to say anyway.
Now let's go down to Shannon. Great job, guys.
Yeah, Doc, you see those guys pulling the cars down backwards the opposite side. Dale Earnhardt Jr. says the car is just getting a little tight. He's also having a little problem with his brakes, he says they just feel a little soft, so the guys are going to give him 4 tires. 88 guys go around to the opposite side of the car. It's fuel for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jamie.
Martin Truex Jr. in the 1-car top 5. They were going to stay up, but a last-minute call to bring him down. 4 tires. Once again, no adjustments on this 1 car. They're going for the win today, guys. Their fuel window was lap 54. That means they're going to have to stop again, maybe for a splash of fuel just down.
Casey King getting his service done. There comes Greg Biffle down pit road. Martin Truex. Let's go down to Dave.
And what they're going to do with Jeff Gordon's car is they want to get the rear end a little bit higher on this car. After they finish the pit stop, they're going to try to raise the track bar on both sides. There's actually 2 sides you can do this on. You can do one with a wrench like they're doing there easily, but on the other side, you can also raise it if you can get underneath the car. So when the fueling is done, we'll see what they do here. But they're trying to, the car is twitchy, the car is wheel hopping. Jeff's really not happy with it, so they're going to take some time here and try to really make this car right.
They have a lot of work to do on Jeff Gordon's car. He was running back in 25th position and just hanging on to stay there.
Yeah, it looked like every time, I mean, the beginning of the race, he could go somewhere around 10 laps, and then his car started to go away. It looked like the same thing.
2 more rounds. Listen to me. Raise it 2 more rounds. 2 more rounds up. All right, there you go. When he gets tight, let's go, Jason.
Yeah, they're adjusting this track bar, trying to help him out.
Jeff Gordon
really
trying to get this car dialed in. Top 14 cars stayed on the racetrack. Everyone else has been on pit road. Leaders coming out of turn 11 at Watkins Glen International as the green flag will get set to wave once again after the first and only caution flag of the day for debris on the racetrack. Juan Pablo Montoya and others spread out. Kurt Busch is there. Jamie McMurray is there. Trying to move on the inside. Montoya on the inside of Kevin Harvick. We saw that movie a year ago.
Yeah, it gets very interesting on these restarts this, and not just this very first lap getting in there the first time. For these next couple of laps, as we see Sam Hornishoff, he stayed on the pavement. He's just a lot of it out there.
Jeff Gordon in the back of that pack there trying to work his way through. Kyle Busch pulling away from his teammate, Tony Stewart. Again, these top 14 cars stayed on the racetrack. The big winner by virtue of this caution coming out might be that 48 car of Jimmy Johnson.
That was a big break for Jimmy to get that caution to stay on the racetrack. Gained a few spots. He's up to 12th spot right now, and he can get back on his strategy.
Yeah, right behind Jimmy Johnson, we saw Michael McDowell, who is a road racer and has done a terrific job here. I saw him earlier today, and he said he really thought that he had a car that he could get to the top 10.
Michael's best finish of the year came at Infineon when he finished 21st, and a lot of speculation that he may be looking or driving for a ride for 2009. May not be back in the 00, trying to get opportunities as Dale Earnhardt Jr. will take that position away. That is the 13th spot. Jimmy Johnson on the inside of Bobby Labonte driving for the King, and Bobby slides off. Jimmy goes by.
Yeah, and just as you pointed out earlier, that's where we've seen him really excel the last 2 days in these races, is getting down into these corners, being able to outbrake these guys and not get his car out of shape.
I think he's learned a technique as far as braking that these road race experts know already, and that's just how to get that thing stopped. I think it's a skill.
You know, I think it's partly that, and they went to Road Atlanta for 2 days. We heard him talk about that right after they won Indy, they had to go to Road Atlanta for Monday and Tuesday after that, and I'm sure that that's a lot of what they worked on, knowing that's one of the best ways that you can pass here is being able to outbrake these guys and not get your car out of shape.
There are 38 cars still on the lead lap. Joe Nemechek, by the way, was the lucky dog, able to get back on the lead lap on that caution flag, putting us now with 38 cars. The other 4 cars or 5 cars are a lap down. Robbie Gordon, Reed Sorensen, Travis Quapple, David Rudeman, and Scott Riggs are a lap down. All 43 still running here on the racetrack.
Tony Stewart's been all over Kyle Busch, his teammate right here. Let's see if he can outbrake him getting in this corner.
I think he's ready to flex a little bit of muscle there. We saw Carl Edwards back in 3rd and then Juan Pablo Montoya back in 4th. So he's really having a good run also. He said, again, his chances today, he really liked those, and he's proving it right now. Looks like he has a really fast race car.
You're going to see a lot of these guys start pitting in about 2 or 3 laps. When they get to that edge of that window, they feel like they can make it to the end of the race.
So, Doc and Andy and Jerry, here's what we're sitting down here thinking, and just throw it upstairs for you guys to bat around. These guys like Tony Stewart, Kyle Busch that did not pit, when are they going to stop? How's all this going to play out against Dale Earnhardt Jr., who was the first guy off pit road? How do you see this unfolding here?
Well, these guys are going to get 4 tires. The leaders are, and the guys that just pitted will probably get in here at the edge of their window, Alan, and get fuel. So they're going to be a little bit behind these leaders. It might just kind of balance itself out once they come off pit road.
Well, I think that they're going to stick with their strategy as we see Tony Stewart trying to make a pass here.
What about the 99 car, guys? Remember, they pitted on lap 21, and here he comes. Here comes Cousin Carl, jams the brakes on.
Yeah, definitely going to have to put a right front tire on. He's flat spotted that one. They're going to get 4 right here.
Yeah, and he knows that this is the point in time that they can make it from here. They got a good reading on that first time, and this is the point in time. This is going to be the last time we're going to see them on pit road unless they have a problem. Mike?
And Bob Osborne came over the radio and said, quote, Carl, as crazy as this sounds, we're pitting next lap. Sounds like they're pretty confident in their fuel mileage as they come down pit road. Carl just a little bit concerned about how tight he is, but thinks pretty much everybody else in the field is tight as well. Looking for a 4-tire change on the 99 car as a team now going to work on the left side of that race car. Remember, opposite footwork for this team as they now swing around to the right side. They're in sync. A very clean stop so far for the 99 up on the jacks. They complete their stop, but now very slow off the jacks as they pull away. But it seemed like there was a bit of a delay there toward the end of that stop.
Yeah, that was a slow stop. It takes about 14 seconds really to get the cars full of fuel when they're out of fuel, but they weren't completely empty. I don't know why it took so long to get that car filled up.
But they were making sure they got all that they had in there, though. As we see, Tony Stewart has taken the lead away from Kyle Busch here.
37 laps is what the 99's got to go. If we go green, you think can he make it, or does he going to need some help?
If it goes green, he won't make it. I think he's counting on some caution laps here to extend that. I don't think anybody can go quite that far on fuel.
Tony off right there in the edge.
This is teammates working together right here. Tony Stewart's not fully, he's not totally in the chase as it is right now. He's up in there as it is, but not really comfortably.
Thank you, sir.
So Tony gets his 5 bonus points right here. Well, let's see what happens as they go to turn 1. Tony Stewart pulls over.
Waves the M&Ms on by. Thank you very much for my 5 points. And Tony, by virtue, is now being shown in 7th spot in the point standings. If the race ended right now, he would have gained 2 more positions.
Yeah, it might seem kind of trivial that 5 points could make any difference, but when we get down to Richmond time and at the end of that night, and we see who's in that top 12.
Kyle Busch, a dominant performance with 7 wins this year, headed to the chase. 5 races to go entering this week in the chase. You see, there's the battle. It was only 91 points between 7th and 13th entering today. See, Tony Stewart's gained a couple of spots. Kevin Harvick up 1.
Right there's where the point battle is. Kyle Busch not too worried about points. He just wants to get another win and add to the bonus points that he'll have when the chase starts.
Marcus Ambrose, one of the cars we've been trying to keep an eye on here, back in 17th, but maybe one of the quickest cars, continuing to be one of the quickest cars throughout the day. Shannon.
Yeah, Doc, right now Marcos Ambrose telling his crew chief he thinks he might have a loose wheel. Crew chief trying to diagnose the problem, says, do you know if it's the right or the left? Marcos cannot figure it out. They said just stay out, try to feel it out. They do plan on possibly coming down on lap 56. So right now, possibly a problem with Marcos Ambrose.
Well, what a shame. Marcus Ambrose and the Wood brothers, they won here in 1965. The Wood brothers are talking about with Marvin Panch, and wouldn't it be a great return to prominence for that 21 car?
See these guys waving. They're not to pit road yet, but I think they just want to tell people behind them that, hey, I'm going to come down pit road this lap. Don't run over me.
I'm coming too. Just follow him right in.
I would think that Tony would be coming. They pitted together the first time, and I believe that's what we're hearing right now, that these 2 Gibbs cars are coming in pit road.
Watch them, and they're going to jam the brakes on 35. You don't want to speed here now to come. Kevin Harvick will also come with them. Robbie Gordon right behind these guys was a lap down. He will be able to get back on the lead lap now as he was in front of Juan Pablo. There's Burton in. Harvick coming down. Kyle Busch, Tony Stewart, McMurray.
Denny Hamlin back there, another Joe Gibbs car.
So the rest of these 14 cars that stayed out under the caution flag are on pit road. Mike.
Kyle Busch on pit road right now saying he's getting a little bit loose off, but otherwise very confident in his race car, saying they're extremely good at the beginning of a run. Looking for a 4-tire change on Kyle Busch's car. Right behind him, his teammate 2 stalls back. That's Tony Stewart. His car extremely tight. They'll make an air pressure adjustment and a 4-tire change on the 20 car.
18 and 20 come off of pit road. And the 0-7, Dave, but what's going on there?
It's a little bit of a slow stop and a stall for Clint leaving. Also had Denny Hamlin on pit road for just a splash of fuel. He stopped on the last caution flag. And also Kevin Harvick on and off pit road. 4 tires, wedge adjustment for the 29 car.
By virtue of that pit stop, the 0-7 of Clint Boyer would move back to 13th in the point standings. Marcus Ambrose, we had a report that he had a tire issue.
What Ambrose needs to do is get a shot of fuel and tighten those wheels up right here. They really don't need to take the time to change the tires. There we go. That's what they're doing. You see the tire changer just snugging up the wheels and let him go.
Got to be very careful not to speed. Got to be so difficult to do when you know you want to get there in a hurry, just to sit there and run at 35 miles an hour.
I don't know how you drivers do that. I swear I don't.
It's something really hard to do, and you just have to make sure that you stay on that. You know, you want to push the limit of that. You've got 5 miles per hour that you can work with in there, but you have to be very careful. And as you go downhill and out, it's very tempting as you get to those cones.
And remember, that's what cost him the win at Montreal last week after he dominated by leading 27 laps. He was caught speeding, entering and exiting the pits, and had to have a pass-through. It cost him the win after the race was stopped and red flag for Ray.
Juan Pablo Montoya leading the race here.
Yeah, he's our in-race reporter, but we won't talk to him right now. We'll wait a little while and see if we can do that. But he's on the pit road right now as we speak. Do that, but he's on the pit road right now as we speak.
What should be his final stop? 42 car, looking for his first win in 2008. Brian Patty and company going to work.
They need a good stop here. He's done a great job in driving his car up through the pack and getting himself in a position to at least compete for the win here.
Got a shot from the Chip Goods camera. He's the rear tire carrier.
Good stop.
Very good stop.
That's one of the better stops we've seen on pit road with this reversed pit wall for these guys. Here comes David Gilliland in his pit.
We talked about David earlier. He'd done a great job. Jeff Gordon back on pit road here.
Jeff Gordon is on pit road now, guys. Ron Fellows also fuel only. He had tires on the last stop. They'll put tires on Jeff's car. They're going to make some more. Just 2 left side tires. Pick up some track position here and see if Jeff can drive his way by a bunch of guys.
Interesting strategy, Andy. Getting 2 tires. I mean, I know what they're trying to do there, but usually it's either 4 or none.
Well, they just needed to try to make up a little bit of track time because they've just struggled so much today, and they spent a lot of time on pit road making changes.
Cycling through pit stops, that will put Jimmy Johnson at the head of the field. It is Johnson, Truex, Earnhardt Jr., Casey Kane, and Paul Menard, 2 DEI drivers in the top 5. Welcome back to the Centurion boats at the Glen, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series event. They were calling for rain today, but we haven't needed to bring the boats out because it is a gorgeous day here at Watkins Glen International. There is the leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr., because Jimmy Johnson a moment ago decided to go ahead and come on pit road, took on 4 tires, and filled it full of fuel. Here's Jimmy just a moment ago coming in, and they were going to come in and just try to get all they could get here as soon as they could get on the pit road.
Decided to get 4 tires right here. Dale and I were just talking. He probably wants to have good tires on at the end. Count on some caution flag laps to get caught back up here and be able to race these guys. The better tires you have, the more spots you can make.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of interesting strategy. Just a lot of things playing out. These guys think 4 tires is their best opportunity to try to make a good day from it.
The one strategy I don't understand is Dale Earnhardt Jr. staying out on the racetrack as long as he has.
You see Casey Kane coming off of pit road right there. He was the 2nd place car. He came in that time, just got fuel. No tires for that car at all.
Earnhardt Jr. pitted on lap 50. So he's
got a splitter brace broken right in the center. I don't think it'll hurt him. Probably comes from bouncing over these curbs.
Here's the 18 car of Kyle Busch. Remember, they exited pit road right in front of each other. It was Kyle and then Tony. There's the 20 car of Tony Stewart. They are second, third. Ryan Newman back behind them in fourth. Then Truex is fifth.
Kyle's car seemed to be a little bit better on the get-go on those new tires, but I've been watching the last couple of laps. It seems that Tony Stewart's car is now starting to come around to him.
Earnhardt Jr., how long do you wait before you bring him in?
I think they've waited too long already. I mean, if the caution comes out right now, they're going to be stuck. They'll have to make a pit stop and go behind all these guys. He needs to get down pit road right now and get back out before that happens.
Tony Eury Jr. Waiting to make the call. They made their first stop on lap 30.
I'm sure he's telling him right now to get in. There's really nothing to gain by staying on the racetrack at this point.
And they're getting beat by about a second a lap on the racetrack is the thing. I think that's one of the biggest things is he's just losing a lot of time. Shannon?
Yeah, right now there is no conversation on the radio. So Tony Eury Jr. not telling his driver to come down pit road. Remember, like you said, Doc, they pitted on lap 50. They wanted to stay out as late as they could on that one. I guess that's what they're doing right now. I'm going to try to get in there and chat with Tony Jr. and find out what their plan is.
Earnhardt Jr. stays on the racetrack, and of course he's the leader. Then Kyle Busch and Stewart have already pitted. Newman has been in. Truex. Marcus Ambrose has been back in on the 21 car, and he is being shown in 5th position.
I can't say enough about what they've done. We see the 28 car has been off the track. He's got a lot of gravel coming out of that, and that's the thing that brought out our last caution.
This could really hurt Dale Earnhardt Jr. if this caution comes out, and they may have to throw it for this. But they had to throw it earlier.
No caution thus far. Flagman staying green. Quapple back on the racetrack. That's Joe Nemechek in front of him. Here again's a 28 car over on the inner loop.
Yeah, this is a different spot on the racetrack. This may not be quite as critical where this gravel is coming on the track.
I don't know. He's throwing it. Yeah, I mean, that's right where guys are coming out of that inner loop. So that is going to be a call that NASCAR is going to have to look at making.
NASCAR has the ability to be able to review all the cameras with their spotters around the racetrack and look for, and they have made a decision.
That was a bad break for Junior right there.
They will bring out caution for the second time today, and that is not a good sign for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Back in a moment.
Just the second caution out in today's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race at Watkins Glen. It comes just past the 2/3 mark of the race with only Dale Earnhardt Jr. out on the racetrack, not having made what would be his final pit stop. Puzzlement over the strategy of Team 88 as the field comes to the opening of pit road, and we'll see how many others may join this 88 car on pit lane.
He'd have to go a long way, 40 laps, and that is out of their field window, I believe.
Well, we're going to find out right here just a little bit. If he goes down pit road,
or we can just run this window out and do a gas and go at the end.
Oh, man,
I think
that's
the only shot to get back up there.
That is a painful right-hand turn under the circumstances.
Well, let's see how many follow him in.
Come on, Pit.
There won't be many, I don't think.
They're going to call Junior in. Looks like Kyle Busch is going to stay out.
And boy, that is a sick field. When you got to come down pit road, you got to line up behind all those guys that stayed out. Yeah. Just a bad call. They made a mistake.
Had a race car to win, too.
Shannon?
Yeah, guys, you heard the discussion over the radio. They did come down and pit 4 tires for this number 88 team. Dale Earnhardt Jr. saying that the car is just getting a little bit tight on him. But right now, working on those tires for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's down and away.
So Dale Earnhardt Jr. was the only one of 38 lead lap cars to come down pit road under this caution. One more, Sam Hornish will also pit, so that's ouch for Junior's team so far. Here's our McDonald's race rundown. What's happened so far? Kyle Busch started on pole. Qualifying rained out. Field lined up according to points. Just a lap into the race, Dale Earnhardt Jr. went by Kyle and into the lead. Kyle shuffled back a couple spots. Turn 1 has been trouble.
Boy, sure has. You see Juan Pablo Montoya getting into real hot slides off the racetrack, but holds on. And look at Patrick Carpentier. Does the same thing, but this time they both spin.
Jimmy Johnson, a contender for the win, maybe again, but had a little trouble earlier.
Yeah, he could have possibly got a little tire trouble when he ran off the track there. Something caused the tire to go down. Had to come in and pit on lap 43.
And a little teamwork for bonus points where the race to the chase is concerned. Tony Stewart kind of on the bubble for making the championship, so Kyle Busch let Stewart by for a lap to gain bonus points toward leading the race. And then Dale Jr. staying out onto the racetrack, not having made his final pit stop until this caution wave. We'll see where Jr. lines up for the restart and just how it all shakes out when we come back to Watkins Glen. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Watkins Glen, brought to you by the Home Depot, NASCAR's home improvement warehouse. And Coors Light. Get Coors Light pole position alerts on your cell phone. Just text POLE to 42100.
Getting set for the restart here. Just 25 laps to go. It'll be Kyle Busch, teammate Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman there in the Dodge's third, Truex, Marcus Ambrose. What a story that would be back in fifth position. The last time a driver got his first ever nationwide win on Saturday and the Cup win on Sunday back-to-back was Carl Edwards in 2005 in Atlanta. Could it happen today? Ambrose under attack from Denny Hamlin for fifth spot. Hamlin will try the high side.
Yeah, Marcus protects the spot down in there. We see a lot of guys trying to make some passes down in there. But what a great job Marcus Ambrose has done. I don't know if he can win this race. Andy, I know you believe that he can. I'm not sure he can pass the 18 and the 20, but this is just a terrific job and shows just how talented this man is on a road course.
I think he can. He's made his last pit stop. He's got a great race car. He's doing everything right so far. I think he actually can win this race.
Making only his third ever start in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Started at Infineon, finished 22nd, by the way, at Indianapolis in the Brickyard 400, and now just trying to hang on. Good side-by-side racing here. The 0-1 car, Ron Fellows. On the high side, there's Carl Edwards going by.
A.J. Allmendinger right behind him, and A.J.'s done a terrific job in making his way up there. He's in the 12th spot right now.
Yeah, those are 10th, 11th, and 12th, Edwards, Fellows, and Allmendinger. A lot of speculation about A.J. Allmendinger, what he may do next year after that great top 10 finish. Red Bull team looking at who may be their drivers for 2009. But what about Dale Earnhardt Jr.? That decision, the pit, when the caution, and wait till the caution came out, he's back in 31st position. Shannon.
Yeah, down here with Tony Jr., crew chief for Dale Earnhardt Jr. You guys have been speculating. What was the strategy to stay out so long for you guys?
Well, we were just going to go and stop there early, and we were just going to come in and splash it. But, I mean, the car's gotten off for some reason. We started slowing down by a second, so it does no good there. So we were just trying to ride around and try to log as many laps as we could. But caution had to come out. You'd be sitting rosy. But, you know, a couple dirt hit the racetrack, so, you know, we kind of lost that battle. So, you know, it's terrible. I give away the race, basically. But, I mean, everybody's doing the same strategy. It's kind of a ridiculous little race we got here.
All right. Thanks, Tony Jr.
Very frustrated, obviously, and in his car, by the way, Earnhardt Jr. back in 32nd position, and he came in second in the points. Right now, if the race were to end, he would lose 2 positions, as Carl Edwards would move to second and Jimmy Johnson would move to third in the points standings with 4 races remaining until the chase. There is Earnhardt Jr., 88 car, and behind him, Jeff Gordon. They are 30th and 31st. Neither one are going to have the day they're going to want to remember for a long time.
Yeah, and the other thing for Junior is he's back in this traffic, and he's going to have to really be aggressive to try to pass these guys, and he's going to have to put himself in some compromising positions, as we see him right now diving up underneath P.J. Jones.
Yeah, the thing that's a little disappointing or that's different between these two, Junior had a car capable of winning this race, and Jeff Gordon has really struggled. They came in again and got tires this last time, so they just really struggled. As you see, he was trying to get around the 96 car, P.J. Jones, and can't even make that happen right now. So it's been a very frustrating day for Jeff.
Yeah, they came in on lap 66 for 4 tires for the 24, and this really hasn't helped them a lot. A little pushing and shoving there in the inner loop. McMurray in the 26 and the 10 of Carpentier.
He realizes now they've made their last pit stop. What they have is what they've got with their car right now, and they're going to try to make every position, and they know where the spots are that they can try to take, and they're going to try to make some opportunities that maybe aren't there.
5 car of Casey Mears. A lot of speculation this weekend as to where he will head in 2009. People pointing the finger that he may be the 4th driver for Richard Childress Racing next year.
It looks like the logical place for him to go right now. I know they've had conversations and trying to make that work, and I'm sure that whenever the time's right that Richard Childress and Casey Mears will tell us if indeed that is exactly what happened. But if it is, it'd be a good fit for Casey.
"21 laps to go at Watkins Glen. 26th year the NASCAR Sprint Cup cars have run here. Qualifying washed away. Kyle Busch, our leader. He's the points leader and the race leader. Here's our Aflac trivia question. Who was the last driver to win 3 straight races from the pole at one racetrack? Let you think about that. We can even give you a clue. It happened right here. It was Mark Martin in Watkins Glen, 93, 94, and 95.
Well, pushing and shoving going on right here with Jeff Gordon and P.J. Jones.
I don't think it's finished either. Got everybody jammed up behind him, which can create even more problems for some people, but it looks like Jeff finally won that little argument.
How frustrating does this have to be for Jeff Gordon, who has historically been the best driver at this racetrack?
It's really got to be frustrating. You know, they've really struggled all day long. They've been in and on and off pit road. Oh, P.J. Jones goes around.
Yeah, little contact from Sam Hornish right there.
Bounces off the tire barrier, gets it refired.
No caution, get it rolling now.
It's going to cost him a lot of time. He was battling hard up there with Jeff Gordon just to.
He got that tire wall pretty good.
Yeah, he sure did.
He got some damage on the rear of this car.
Show you the pushing and shoving we're talking about a moment ago here in the pack. Watch the 24 car. Blaney comes across. There's PJ. Little body slamming from the 96 and 24.
It looked like Gordon had position on him get into the inner loop.
As they came out here, though, Jeff car he got cut off a little bit, and Jeff lost the front end grip.
Then the follow-up here, PJ trying to get in, and the contact from Sam Hornish in turn 11.
I can't say PJ was doing anything wrong there. He was just trying to make that corner, and Sam was just trying to press the issue a little bit, which is going to happen on these road courses.
Kyle Busch, 2 road course wins and a second-place finish yesterday in the NASCAR Nationwide race in 3 starts this year. Not a bad record. Trying to get win number 3. He is just 19 laps away.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell tonight at 8 Eastern. That tight National League Central race matchup there with Albert Pujols and the St. Louis Cardinals facing Derek Lee and the Cubbies. ESPN 8 Eastern tonight. Then Monday Night Baseball presented by Holiday Inn moves to ESPN 2. It's Ryan Howard and the Phillies taking on Manny Ramirez and the Dodgers. That sounds so weird to say. At 10 Eastern time. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Final stages of the Centurion boats at the Glen. Watkins Glen, New York, 17 laps to go. Kyle Busch, the leader, opening up a little gap on Tony Stewart. But sitting here just wondering if Kyle Busch has enough fuel to go to the finish of this race. He stopped at lap 56-57, so 33 laps to go. They've had about 2.5 laps of caution.
He should be able to make it no problem. I think that's well within their window. Although Kyle Busch is one of the hardest drivers out there, and he's not really good at saving gas, I would think. This guy's, when you're in the throttle, you're using gas.
But you know what? I've watched his times, and they've slowed up a little bit. I mean, he was really, really booking it here about 5 laps ago. He's backed it up probably a tenth or so. I think he's trying to conserve a little bit, and he's still as quick as anyone in the field.
Well, I know the man who can tell us. The man who's covering Kyle Busch's pit. Mike Massaro is down there. What are they saying, Michael?
Well, I can tell you what they're saying, but I'm not sure if I can tell you. They're telling him to save fuel. They seem to be right on the edge, but as we reported earlier in the day, they've got an experimental carburetor, one that they didn't get to try during practice because of other engine issues, so they're not really sure exactly how far they can go, but they are telling Kyle to save fuel. It's going to be close, that's for sure. Meanwhile, his Joe Gibbs Racing teammate, Tony Stewart, well, fuel's not necessarily the issue. Handling is. He said he needs the car to turn a little bit better. Last time down pit road, they made a track bar adjustment and an air pressure adjustment. It seems to be helping, but still, he's got a ways to go before he reels in his teammate. Shannon?
Yeah, Mike, Ryan Newman right behind Tony Stewart. Last pit stop was on 58. Just asked the crew if they could make it to the end, and I got I don't knows across the board. So right now, Ryan Newman solidly in third. This team has said that they are going to scratch claw their way into the chase. Right now, 15th in the points. So this is a good day for Ryan Newman if he can maintain that third. Jamie?
It's been a good day for Martin Truex Jr., who's right behind him as well, who's looking, Marcos Ambrose looking to the inside. That's Martin Truex Jr. in the 1, and that's actually Juan Pablo Montoya who got around him. But Martin announcing on Friday, it's official, he has re-signed with DEI to run in 2009. A little extra hop in his step as well as the team. teams. They're excited about the effort their drivers putting in. Their goal is to be top 5 all 5 races before the chase. Shannon?
Well, Jamie, Marcos Ambrose said coming into this race, the biggest thing, the most important thing was to get that car comfortable. He knew he was going to have to fight for his track position. He said, even if we're not the fastest car on the track, if it's comfortable, then I can move through the field. Now, Juan Pablo Montoya right behind Marcos Ambrose. This is a great run for that team. He finished 40th in this race last season. Even though he won on the road course at Sonoma last season, Juan Pablo Montoya said, you know, we won on strategy. Right now, I think this team is good enough where we can actually beat them with our performance. Dave.
Denny Hamlin, as you will come into the picture here, running in the 7th position. Denny complaining that he's had brake fade, which has led to losing the front end of the race car. On fuel mileage, they can make it to the end of the race if the race ends on lap 90. No overtime, or the 11 might be really close, according to crew chief Mike Ford. Behind him, Kevin Harvick questioned whether they should have come down pit road last time and maybe took on 4 tires with higher air pressures. I just checked with Todd Barrier, his crew chief, and he said, you know, we didn't do that, but now Kevin went out and he's running the fastest times of the race so far. So 29 going good now. Mike?
And the 99, Dave, Carl Edwards, really one of those guys trying to milk his fuel mileage. He last stopped on lap 52. Speaking with his team, they said, well, we don't know if we can make it, but if the caution flags do fall for us, we can go the distance. But they have really no choice but to try right now. The 48 of Jimmy Johnson was dealt a bit of a bad card earlier in this race. Midway through, had a cut left rear tire and really forfeited a lot of very good track position. So far, though, they've rallied back for really a good run. They've maintained their poise and could turn in a very solid top 5 finish if they continue their forward progress. Shannon?
Yeah, Mike, AJ Allmendinger, this is a great run for that 84 team. They're good to go on fuel to the end. Been very quiet over the radio. AJ said one of his worst habits is that he gets too aggressive. If he can stay calm, then he feels like he can have a great run, and this is a great run for that 84 today. Dave.
Shannon, right behind them, Ron Fellows, road course specialist in that 01 car. I asked Dan Stillman, his crew chief, can he wrestle the car and drive it fast? Just a little bit tight was Dan's answer, but I think he'll be good. They'll be a little bit close on fuel. Maybe, again, overtime would be their only issue. Doc?
All right, David, so one thing we're noticing watching A.J. Allmendinger here. Oh, look at this. Ryan Newman. Hello, Newman. That's not good. Weren't we just talking about that? Oh, look out.
Oh, man. Oh.
Hey, clear up, clear up.
No caution flag on the course yet, just in that section of the track.
They need one bad. Get a caution.
Now it's out.
Oh, man.
Wow. Boy, he's sitting driver's side first right at the track, and they all miss him. Unbelievable.
And you know what? That's a tough spot on this racetrack because where they have spotters around the racetrack,
Can you get it fired? I get 77, stop pushing.
it's hard for the spotter to see down at the very bottom of that hill at that exit of that corner.
You know what, guys? This is interesting now because this gives Marcos Ambrose and Juan Pablo Montoya an opportunity to restart with Kyle Busch and Tony Stewart, who were much quicker than they were on the previous laps. It's going to bunch them all up. This is going to be really a shootout.
And you see his teammate now trying to push Ryan Newman, that same horse round, trying to get that car fired up. And
he's trying.
Looks like you just can't get the thing to go. Let's see what happens here. Looks like it's going to refire. Should fire any second here. That car's not starting, guys. It just won't get going at all.
How about that for teamwork?
He might have accidentally hit the kill switch on the steering wheel. That could happen.
This is tricky turn 1 once again.
I mean, when you come in that hard, you just got to believe the car got into wheel hop and it slid off the course.
And then he's right back in the racing line at the exit of that corner, and the traffic is scattering.
Carl Edwards did an incredible job.
This is from Juan Pablo Montoya.
12 is off. Dig. Dig on the bottom and dig, dig, dig. Beautiful. Keep digging. Still green. Still green.
And now from Ron Fellows.
12-6 on your outside.
Whoa, that's...
Wow.
You're all clear. You're
not
all
a lot
clear.
of room there.
Scary.
Have to go get a new uniform after that.
Well, a couple laps of caution might take fuel to the finish out of the mix for some of these leaders. Though then again, that's, as Dave said, if the race finishes at lap 90.
10 laps to go here in the Centurion boats at the Glen. Who's it going to be? Kyle Busch dominated and won at Infineon. Can he hold on? Tony Stewart, his teammate, right behind him. How about the ultimate underdog, Australian Marcos Ambrose, back in 3rd spot with a hungry Juan Pablo Montoya behind him. Here comes Ambrose, and Montoya will try to dive under him in turn 1.
Ambrose did a good job of keeping Montoya back there so far, and that's going to be important that he can do that up through the S's. See cars getting out of shape back here through turn 1. We see Marcus up through the S's here. Getting up to this to the inner loop is going to be very important. His car seems to be good after he gets just this part of the race gone after a restart, isn't he?
I thought he did a great job right there on in a defensive move going into turn 1 to keep this 42 car from getting inside. Does a good job through here, through this inner loop.
Boy, when you can pull Juan Pablo Montoya coming off a road course, you've done something. Our Wrangler telemetry on board with Montoya's Dodge. Wow, 160 plus miles an hour in that short chute there going into turn 10.
Yeah, fast road course.
Update on Montoya. Shannon?
Yeah, the update is happy with the car, as you can tell, guys. Pretty quiet over the radio, nothing to report. Juan Pablo crashed on the track.
Oh, heavy contact, cars crashing. There's Hornish. One car in flames. Heavy contact of 43 involved. Blaney involved. David Gillen is heavy. The whole front of that car sheared away. There's David Gillen. The good news is the window net is down, and he is pulling the visor up. Look at the front of that car, completely destroyed. Michael Waltrip involved.
Boy, Dave Blaney's car is destroyed in the front also. Oh, it looks...
Bobby Labonte is hit hard, and he is
taking a big hit here.
Yeah, he's trying to get over to get to the wall. Bobby hit front and back. You see all the barrels that have been destroyed there where the Hornish car hit. Blaney's car, hard impact inside and out.
Don't know what started that, but boy, that was a huge wreck.
Look at David Gillen's car, front and back, just destroyed. There's a 70 car of Max Pappas. And they obviously will red flag Joe Nemechek involved. Red flag this field because there is just nothing but just a field of debris.
See, Bobby Labonte's still hurting there. He's walking, but he's hurting. He's just wanting to get away from there. We talked about how fast they go into that next to the last corner, but they still they're full throttle coming out of the last corner. And when something happens, obviously it's very big.
Dave Blaney out of the car. You see him walking away there. The 12 car. Sam Hornish trying to get a push. He's trying to get his car pushed and restarted.
He just stalled here. I don't think he was part of this accident. I think his car just stalled again.
Yeah, Bobby Labonte getting into the back of the ambulance here. There's David Gillen walking to run across the wall. Same car he had that great run with at Infineon. There's Max Pappas. Show you what happened here with 8 laps to go in turn 11.
Then Michael McDowell gets into the back of Gillen and get into the corner here. Oh my goodness. The hard lap.
Right across in front of Labonte, who backs that car into the guardrail. There comes the 77 of Hornish. He was involved. See, Ryan Newman just stopped in the 12 car.
That was a lot of really hard hits right there.
Gillen, oh, that's the 43 car that came down and as Gillen bounced off the wall. Watch from Clint Bowyer's onboard camera. Oh, he just gets by. But the car behind him.
Big wreck behind you. Big crash, bud. Back her down.
And look at the debris. Those garbage cans where Sam Hornish broadsided him with the side of his Dodge. Watch Robbie Gordon somehow pick his way through this mess.
Check her out.
Ryan Newman also no contact, but he stalled his car, and they've had a hard time keeping it running, so he can't get it started. See Max Pappas' car up against the guardrail.
It looked like that happened with Michael McDowell and David Gillen kind of arguing over some spots there.
Bobby Labonte, Dave Blaney, Hornish, Gillen, Pappas, Nemechek, Newman, and Sorensen involved. Above the mess that is the red flag here at Watkins Glen. The coverage brought to you by our friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. Well, there are 9 drivers involved in this one, and many of these guys will not get to the finish line today. The 70 car, Max Pappas, hard contact against the guardrail. Let's listen in to his radio.
Oh, sorry, guys. Come on. We did an awesome race, and we don't deserve this. I'm so upset. But you're all right in there, are you? Yeah, I'm broken in my heart, but I'm under control.
You could hear the disappointment. Max Pappas is one of the nicest guys you'd ever want to be around. He was so excited to be here yesterday in Rusty's car and to be here in the 70 car today and to be a part of this, and such disappointment.
Yeah, it really is. You hate it for somebody that just wants to do this so bad. Max, he just loves coming here and driving these cars and wants to be a part of either one of these series.
Here he is coming out of the car. You could just hear the heartbreak in his voice. And what a great guy. Tough day.
Unfortunately, it doesn't always turn out like we want to. But he, as you said, he's a great guy, great family guy.
Here are the cars involved. The original contact was Michael McDowell in the 38 of David Gillen. Gillen rebounds off and catches Bobby Labonte front and back. Dave Blaney, heavy front end damage. Reed Sorensen couldn't get stopped, got front end damage. Michael Waltrip also some fender. Max Pappas, you saw, against the guardrail. Sam Hornish Jr. sideways into the barrels, and Joe Nemechek front end of his car damage trying to get stopped. Let's check out today's sprint monster moment. A monster hit by David Gillen. The ricochet off to Bobby Labonte, who got it front and by. Look at Sam Hornish. That's why they put those barrels there.
These guys are all wide open coming out of this last corner. They're trying to make passes. We're down inside of 10 laps to go. It's just the worst possible spot for everything to happen right here in front of the majority of the field.
For more monster moments, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile. 8 laps to go here at Watkins Glen. A 9-car crash has brought out a red flag. The drivers are all out of the cars, and it will take a while to clean up this mess. Back in a moment.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Watkins Glen, brought to you by Aflac. Ask about it at work. By McDonald's. And by Vitamin Water. It works for Carl Edwards. Try it. Under the red flag at 82 of 90 laps complete after a massive 9-car accident off the final corner. Dave Blaney's car, one of those heavily damaged to get all the drivers out of their cars. Jamie?
Well, and we're back here at the Infield Care Center. And David Gilliland was checked and released, and he refused to comment at this time. But Dave Blaney is joining us now. First of all, Dave, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Can you tell us what happened?
I really couldn't see anything get started. I couldn't see through the cars in front of me. You know, you kind of couldn't see through them. And a couple guys in front of me were checking up, and it looked like you could just keep coming. And then they were sitting there. You just couldn't see through the cars. And it was a big hit for a bunch of guys.
Glad to see that Dave Blaney's okay, guys. And there's a few other drivers in there, and we'll wait out here and hopefully speak to them as they come out, guys.
And Max Pappas treated and released as well from the Infield Medical Center. You know, there's always this, it's like short tracks, road courses, there's always this, the sense of speed, the anticipation of that edgy element to the sport. You just, I don't know, people seem to relax about it or whatever, but these guys are flying at this very fast racetrack.
Oh, they are. With 8 laps to go, Alan, there's just no doubt about that. I mean, tension's building right now. They're trying to get all the positions they can. And I've got to tell you, folks, that's one of the hardest hits I've seen in a long time. That's like something we would see, Brad, at Daytona, Talladega. It was a huge hit for a lot of cars.
Yeah, they were all bunched up. They were really coming through the corner very hard, trying to maintain position as they come down this long straight, and that was a pretty catastrophic wreck.
I mentioned Max Pappas treated and released at the medical center. Jamie, you with him?
Well, we heard his radio. He said what a heartbreaker this was. Max, first of all, are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm broken in my heart because, the guys in Haas Racing were doing an awesome job. The strategy was perfect. We were ready to attack for the last 9 laps and came out of the last corner. And I know that with 9 to go, you get to get up on the wheel and push hard, but that's too much. I don't know exactly what happened. I need to see the replay, but pushing and shoving is okay, but that was crazy. I don't know, it was like crazy, cars everywhere, and I had no way to go. And unfortunately, I want to see the replay. I can't really say much, but definitely, it's heartbreaking because we were bound to do a great race.
We're going to replay it right here. You see the replay. We'll get Max's reaction.
Wow. I guess that there was not really much place to go. And yeah, here we are. Too bad. They kept pushing and shoving in the last 10 laps, pushing on the back and stuff like that. And wow. Junior got really short end of the stick, looked like. It is what it is. Unfortunately, I ended up my second Cup race in the wall. That's not what I wanted, but it was a blast. And I had Jeff Gordon right in front of me. I was ready to attack, and it was a blast anyway. And hopefully nobody got hurt, but it was definitely bad.
Well, you always have said this is a dream come true, getting to race with these guys. Like you said, second start. Are we going to see you back in a Cup car anytime soon, Max?
Absolutely. I'm going to continue my duty to test for Hendrick Motorsport in the road course. And, I want to say thanks to all the race fans for supporting me. And thanks for my family and God to protect me. And I see you next round.
How can you not love this guy? Max Pappas checked and released, and all is okay, guys.
Jamie, just a couple of further updates here. Max was talking about, I guess Junior got the bad end of it, but he didn't see from the replay he was watching Junior go into the smoke and come out the other side.
Yeah, no, David Gilliland got the bad end of that deal. Junior escaped pretty unscathed.
And you see Bobby Labonte's car being loaded up there. Bobby, word from the medical center is we saw him climb from his car and walk away. He is going to be transported to a local hospital for further evaluation. So we'll get what updates we can in a moment, and I'm getting further information at the time. We'll clarify that and come back. But Bobby Labonte going to be transported to a local hospital for further evaluation there. Maybe Pappas was confused with Sam Hornish and Junior, but either way, some nasty hits there, and we will continue to bring you what updates we can. For now, though, the field is stopped, the engines are quiet, we're under the red flag, just 8 laps from the finish here at Watkins Glen. The scene at Watkins Glen International, the 11-turn road course in upstate New York, where the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is racing on this beautiful afternoon. The gloom and doom weather forecasts that were being offered up this morning have not panned out. It's been a wonderful afternoon for most of the race, and then it got kind of ugly near the end. Kyle Busch started on pole, rained out qualifying, field lined up according to points. Dale Jr. took the lead on lap number 2. He started second. Jr. has been out front for quite a bit of this event, 33 of the 82 laps so far. Turn 1's been a trouble spot.
Oh, you see Juan Pablo Montoya sails it in there, starts wheel hopping. The car slides off, but doesn't spin, but not so lucky for Patrick Carpentier and P.J. Jones. They get together and spin.
Jimmy Johnson had a little tire trouble.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson was really fast today. Runs off the track here, and we believe this is where he came into some tire trouble. Shortly afterward, had to come down, change those left side tires.
Cut left rear, dropped Jimmy to 31st in line. Kyle Busch has done most of the leading today, except for this little part here where he gave up the lead to Tony Stewart for a lap, trying to help Tony gain those 5 bonus points and help secure his place in the chase. This race relatively caution-free, only 1 caution through the first 64 laps. Then here was the second one.
Oh yeah, Travis Boppel gets off the racetrack and brings all this rocks onto the track. NASCAR's got to throw the caution flag because of that, and that lets Dale Jr. get hung out on the racetrack, and he's got a pit under caution now. Goes all the way to the back of the pack, ruining his chances.
His team just didn't play the strategy right so far today. Ryan Newman running third.
Ryan Newman comes down, just completely misses the corner, slides back onto the racetrack, backs out there, driver's side. The entire field's coming by. Give the whole field a kudos for being head up. Great job by their spotters, because that's a very precarious situation. Turned out great, though, for everyone.
That led to this just after a restart.
Wait, Michael McDowell's trying to pass on the inside, gets ahead of the 38 car, David Gilliland. And look at this wreck, and take a look at Sam Hornish. Bam! In the air. those barrels really helped save him on that one.
That was quite a lick. And you see Bobby Labonte gets a tough shot there, hits very hard. David Gilliland gets whacked by Joe Nemechek. Reed Sorensen comes flying in there. Poor Max Pappas gets his race car tore up. It was bedlam down there.
9 cars involved in the accident that has had us under the red flag now for nearly 40 minutes. You see the cars stopped out on the backside of the course, all shut down, drivers strapped in, hot, sweaty, ready to go finish this thing, and got to wait while they clean up over in the exit of turn number 11. A lot of the cleanup has been because of those barrels protecting the end of pit wall, but I don't think anybody would argue it's worth waiting to clean that up.
Oh, no, that really did a great job. There is no doubt about that. I mean, just look at Sam Hornish. He slammed that thing, driver's side first, hit those barrels, and all that impact-resistant foam that our Tim Brewer was showing you really held up good. And this car is still on the racetrack, still in competition. And he's still 34th.
That's incredible.
He's still 34th in the points. Holding on.
Yeah, a couple things, kind of subplots going on here in the race today. The top 35 in owner points. Very important because those 35. That's good news.
Pit road is closed. Pit road is closed.
Very good news as word goes out there for the cars to fire up. The top 35 in owner points are guaranteed a spot in next week's race. Well, there are only 44 points from 35th place Sam Hornish up to 33rd place Michael Waltrip, and Hornish is only 10 points to the good on Michael McDowell right now. So that could change in these last laps of this race. Check out our owner points here as they stand right now, with Hornish being on the bubble, though he's actually tied with A.J. Allmendinger, who's up 3 spots in today's race. Allmendinger running 9th right now on the racetrack.
8 very important laps for Sam Hornish as well as Allmendinger. We're going to see how this flushes out. This is going to be very, very interesting.
And then Doc was telling you earlier about the top 12 and the race to the chase right now and how close those standings are. So that's just some of the subplots going on here as we get these final 8 laps ready to go in Watkins Glen. So before the wreck, all 43 cars still running, 38 of them on the lead lap. Right now we've got 33 cars on the lead lap, and we're going to be missing a few of those involved in that wreck when we go back under green.
Remember last year's restart here, how exciting it got in the final laps? Here was the restart. There is Montoya in front of Truex. Tap got there. They get into Harvick, entering turn 1. And then it was all about mano-mano, getting out and getting face-to-face or helmet-to-helmet with Harvick and Juan Pablo. And guess who's right behind Juan Pablo again today? How does this thing always work out in history? You know, you look in the mirror, and there's the one car, I should say, Martin Truex Jr. right behind Juan Pablo Montoya. You know, he's going to be aggressive.
And Kevin Harvick right behind him. So we have the 3 guys that really triggered that whole incident down in turn 1.
Remember, Truex
still has 6 more laps.
Yeah, Truex re-signed his contract, so he knows where he's going next year, so he's okay with DEI, so he can get aggressive.
I think we're going to see all of them get pretty aggressive right here. Kyle Busch has been really good on these restarts, making sure that he got his tires clean, got up through the gears, and didn't let anybody make a move on him down into turn 1. We'll see if that can happen again here with 5 laps to go if they get to the line.
Watch it, 21 and the 42. Will they lag back and try to get a run on Stewart in turn 1? They come down. It'll be 5 to go. Green flag for Kyle Busch, who takes off and pulls Tony Stewart by 8 car lengths. Here comes Marcus Ambrose to the inside and Truex. No contact in 1. Truex to the inside of Montoya, trying to take the spot away, and he will have it exiting turn 1.
It's like Montoya was trying to make a move on Marcus Ambrose on the outside, and that just opened the door for Truex.
Yeah, Ambrose didn't get started off really good. He seems to have a hard time right there getting started initially, and that's opened up the outside for those guys, but that cost Juan Pablo right there. Kyle Busch got a great restart, got a couple of car lengths on Tony, and that really helped him. That's really nice when you can get up there and get through the inner loop on this first turn.
A.J. Allmendinger picked up a couple of spots on that restart, able to make a pass.
It's like Montoya's already back by Truex.
4th position. We'll see if Truex can get after him again here. There's Harvick looking back at Truex, and right behind him is Kevin Harvick sneaking. They'll make the hard right-hander turn 11.
Truex has done a really good job today. We haven't talked a lot about him. We have mentioned him being up there, but he's done just a terrific job. And it looks like he's got a really fast car, trying to get a run back on Juan Pablo down into turn 1.
Harvick now looking to the inside. Truex covers a spot. Harvick can't afford to make a mistake either because Denny Hamlin and A.J. Allmendinger are right behind him.
There's a fine line getting into one, or whether you can arc the car in to make a fast lap, or you pull over to the right-hand side of the road just to protect so nobody gets underneath you.
Yeah, I think it's more about protecting right at this moment. You know, if you can keep that guy back there, then you knocked his momentum down. We see Kyle Busch going through here, going through the inner loop. The rest of the guys coming through. Everybody's pretty much single file at this point in time. This is not really one of the passing spots right there as they come out of the inner loop and around that turn. But as they get here to this left-hander, important to carry a lot of momentum as you get to the last corner. Again, a lot of guys just single file right here running. Not much passing happening at this point in time. Just shows how equal a lot of these cars are. See Matt Kenseth get a little bit sideways there, but corrects that.
Jimmy Johnson trying to get back past Allmendinger, the car that Allmendinger passed him, entering one on the restart to take the spot away. There goes Johnson. See if he can get by Allmendinger. That's for 8th position. And
Allmendinger shuts the door. I think Jimmy saw that coming.
Yeah, he didn't force it. He could have forced it a little bit there, but there wasn't really any reason for him to do that as they come up through the S's here.
AJ says, I'm driving for my best career finish and maybe for my job. I need to hang on to this spot. He's doing a heck of a job.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. Yeah, since Jimmy Elledge came over there, they've just really seemed to perform really well. And, you know, we talked about Kyle Busch leading this race today as we see what's happened with AJ as he's progressed up through the field. Just a really solid job. You know, they'd had good pit work. And we see Kyle Busch, I was going to mention, you know, we've kind of taken it for granted just how good he is, but his road course performance this year has just been phenomenal at both of these tracks. He's led a lot of laps and been out front, and it's just been incredible what he's been able to do.
He led 78 of 112 laps at Infineon, and folks, Kyle Busch started 30th at Infineon. He also won the 4th and now final NASCAR Nationwide Series race at Mexico City.
He finished second yesterday here. I mean, he came with just a little bit of win in that race.
In a car he had never driven before, by the way.
Incredible.
He stretched out to almost a 1.5 second lead over Tony Stewart here right now. So we see Jimmy Johnson make the pass this time down into turn 1. Carl Edwards trying to follow him through there. He will have the position, but AJ's going to be able to hold him off.
Juan Pablo Montoya, last lap by, turned the best lap among the leaders, a 73.3, a 10th quicker than Kyle Busch or Stewart, but can he get there?
Yeah, but the top 6 are all in the 73-second bracket. And
Tony Stewart's under attack right here.
Yeah.
Marcus Ambrose knows he's got 2 laps to get a shot. Tony Stewart, remember Marcus said, I don't want to impact the drivers in the chase, but boy, would he love to be able to get one shot at the 18 car.
And those top 6 were all in the 73-second bracket, but Tony was about the slowest of those, so he's struggling a little bit as they go back. You can see him right here.
Getting in the corner. Looks like his car's really loose getting in the corner.
It'll be
really
white flag for Kyle Busch this time by.
Now will Ambrose make a move on Tony going into 1?
Man, here it is. White flag.
I don't think he's close enough to make the move this time, but the thing that Marcus doesn't want to happen is for Tony to slow him down enough that Juan Pablo can get to his back bumper.
Looking on the inside. Now, Ambrose is really good in the S's, and coming out of the S's is where Tony Stewart in the 20 car struggled a moment ago. Although Tony now pulls him a little bit this time by. Trouble, Jeff Gordon involved. There's Sam Hornish.
Looks like Gordon's been around backwards. That's why that roof flap is up.
Just drove it in there a little too hard. He didn't hold it there.
Gordon back in 25th position. Rudeman trying to get by him. Here is the final lap for Kyle Busch, trying to come down to get his 8th win in 2008. Ambrose now has Montoya right on his rear bumper for 3rd spot. Will Montoya make a move in 10? Ambrose covers a spot. One more turn for the battle for 3rd. Kyle Busch will come down out of turn 11 and take the checkered flag. Tony Stewart is 2nd. And 3rd spot, what a performance by Marcus Ambrose from 43rd spot. Juan Pablo Montoya will finish 4th, Truex 5th, and Kevin Harvick will come home in 6th position. Jimmy Johnson back up to 7th spot.
Winning. Think about this for a week, boys.
That's a road racer right there, boys.
Kyle Busch sweeps both NASCAR Sprint Cup events on road courses in 2008 in dominant fashion. He led 4 times for 52 laps today.
Yeah, road racer, short track racer, restrictor plate racer. He's just the man.
What a talent.
Adds 10 more points to his lead that he's obviously going to have probably as we get to the chase point. Very, very impressive by this race team and that young man.
Let's go down and visit with the crew chief for Kyle Busch, Steve Addington. Hey.
Yeah, Steve, and restarts taught him everything he knows. That seemed to be the key right there.
Oh, man. That kid's awesome. Thank you, Zippy. Thank you. This is big for JGR, all these cars running up front like this. To bounce back. I can't believe we don't win a race in 3 or 4 weeks and we're in a bad slump, you know. I mean, it's just... I mean, all 3 of these teams working great together now. It's unbelievable. It's awesome, man. This is awesome. This is great for M&M's, Toyota. Great for this race team right here. I mean, they stick together through thick and thin. Anything I ask of them, they do it. They changed a bunch of stuff on this thing this morning and didn't gripe a bit. So yeah, it's all these guys right here.
And what about how he pulled out on that restart, Steve? Just lengthened him right there.
You never know. You know, we sat over there on 26-lap tires, and it cooled down like that. You never know what's going to happen. And just told him to leave his brake fans off, get some heat in his brakes, and let him do it. That kid right there is awesome, man. He's the best out there.
He did it. Congratulations to Steve for directing this thing, Doc. They did a good job on strategy, and they did a great job on speed.
Did an awesome job all the way around. Kyle Busch, his 16th win of the year, 8th in Cup, 6 wins in NASCAR Nationwide Series, a couple in the trucks, but his first ever win at Watkins Glen. And guys, 8 wins on the season in this series, as competitive as the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is.
Just no telling what he's going to be able to accomplish by the end of the season. He's just an incredible talent.
It's going to be hard to imagine they could do any better, but you know, every time we say that, they bring out something else. We see celebrating on the front stretch here. You know, they've won 8 times. He's come over to a race team that he wasn't familiar with.
What's this bow? There's the bow.
He had to use both hands to count up all the wins. He was showing the fans.
Got to get that checkered flag. Well, the fans, do they appreciate this young man's talent or what?
I think, yeah, they're warming up to this guy, you know. I think that he kind of ruffled their feathers at the first, but they now appreciate the talent that they're seeing here. Jamie, you're with our second place finisher.
He just crawled the finish this year. Tony, how would you assess this day at the Glen?
I can't even hear what you're saying right now.
How would you assess this day at the Glen?
It was pretty sane for us. I mean, a lot of guys had some problems behind us, but, you know, we had a good car all day. Just we had a little bit, we didn't have enough wedge in it for the right-hand corners and a little too much for the left-hand corners, but really proud of Zippy and all of our guys, and proud of Kyle. Kyle ran an awesome race today, didn't make mistakes, you know, and that's what you got to do here. I mean, I put all the pressure on him I could, so really, really proud of the whole Joe Gibbs organization. I mean, to have Denny run as good as he did, and you know, Kyle and I mean, it's a pretty strong day for the organization.
Strong day for Joe Gibbs. Tony Stewart comes home second, guys.
Second week in a row, Tony Stewart finishes a runner-up. Take a look at the point standings. 4 races remaining in the race to the chase. Kyle Busch extends the lead. Carl Edwards gains a spot. Jimmy Johnson up 1. Dale Earnhardt Jr. losing 2 positions by virtue of his finish here today back in 22nd. You see Tony Stewart gains 2 more positions up to 7th spot. Greg Biffle back a couple. Matt Kenseth puts himself in chase contention. He was 13th coming in. He moves up to 12th today with that 12th place finish. Jamie.
His 3rd Cup start, and Marcos Ambrose brings it home 3rd. Marcos, take us through your day.
Just a long day. We used that car up. Had no clutch left, no brakes left, and you know, I was worn out. Just coming through the field like that, it's really hard work. We overused the car early in the race just to try and get track position, but just great fun racing those guys at the front. They really looked after me, and I got to thank them, you know, because it'd be easy to send me off into the weeds with that rookie stripe on the back. But it's been a lot of fun, and it's just been a real blast. The Wood brothers have had a great car for me both times at the road courses, and I just got to thank them and Little Debbie and the McKee family for giving me the chance to go cup racing.
Guys, he came from 43rd position. Who says you can't pass on a road course, right?
Kangaroo Meat's his nickname, and he hopped right by him early on and got all the way up to third spot. Your final thoughts on what we saw, particularly that Marcus Ambrose performance?
Just a great performance. The man is a road racer extraordinaire. He did a fantastic job. I wouldn't have thought that you could come from 43rd to 3rd, but he proved me wrong. Showed that you can do it with a good car and a lot of talent.
Man, this young man right here, what a great day. What a great weekend for Marcus Ambrose. He won yesterday, finished 3rd today. A lot to be happy about.
Saw Eddie Wood coming to congratulate him. And then how about the 23-year-old phenom from Las Vegas? 8th NASCAR Cup win of the season, first at Watkins Glen.
And Kyle Busch in victory lane for the 8th time already in 2008. Getting a kiss from his girlfriend. The celebration is on here, and that one was hard-earned. You had one of the best road course racers in this series right on your rear bumper for that final restart. What were your thoughts with Tony right there?
I knew he was going to be hard to beat. I mean, racing against the same stuff with Tony Stewart and Joe Gibbs Racing and Toyota. And, you know, I knew it was going to be hard to beat Tony, but, you know, he's such a great friend and such a great teammate. I'm really going to hate to see him leave at the end of the year. I mean, he's just been so fun to work with this year. And I got to thank him, everybody at JGR, all of M&M's, Pedigree, Combos. Got to thank the fans. You know, they're the ones that make us race. So everybody out there, appreciate your support.
Take us through that restart. What did you have to do to protect that spot and hold him off?
Well, I knew getting a good start was going to be good. And once I got that, then it changed all my worries of how to run turn 1. So then I just had to concentrate on getting off of turn 1 and then getting up through the S's and everything. And, you know, on restarts, these tires are pretty slick. We found that out at Infineon. So just planning for that and trying to get a good solid run up off the corner and, you know, being able to get up through the S is good. So, you know, that helped out. And then the more we ran, the better our car got with grip. So, you know, that was definitely something that we knew we could capitalize on too. So thank NOS Energy Drink, Electric Sunglasses, everybody else that makes it possible for us to get here too. And Joe Gibbs Racing Oil, everybody at TRD.
Well, Alan, with the victory, Kyle Busch now has 80 bonus points. Nobody can start the chase with more.
Kyle has been the road king this year. One at Sonoma, one at Watkins Glen, and now we look ahead to Michigan.
Michigan, I'll tell you what, Michigan's where Jimmy Johnson said he got back on track. Johnson won Indy. He's 7th today. Really rallied. He's going to be good, but this kid just won this race. He's going to be strong, too, though.
I said it before the day. He needed another win before we got to the chase. Rest of the field, you better take note. Kyle Busch is going to work towards that championship.
Our coverage for Michigan next Saturday, the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Carfax 250, 3 Eastern time on ESPN2. Then 1 week from today, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series on the big, fast 2-mile oval, ESPN 1 o'clock Eastern time. That is next weekend. SportsCenter's next. More post-race coverage on SportsCenter. And don't forget the late NASCAR Now tonight at 10 Eastern on ESPN2. All the news on the day next on SportsCenter.